5 out of 5. Somebody finally ran a controlled test on the viral token saving tricks AI coders swear by. The caveman prompts, the output compressors, the magic context modes, and not one of them reliably cut total tokens. The worst made token used 68% worse. And while everyone argues about prompts, the thing really draining your Claude quota is something you do every day without typing a single word. I went through Anthropic's billing docs line by line. And by the end of this video, you'll have the 7 moves that actually cut your Claude bill. And the number 1 move costs you nothing. Here's the test. One developer on Reddit ran 5 of the community's favorite token saving methods across 10 real coding tasks, twice each. 140 agent runs, caveman style prompts, a lazy engineer persona, a shell output compressor, a context mode, even prompting in Mandarin because it's supposedly denser. Not one of them cut total tokens in both runs, and the context tool came in 68% over baseline. Full honesty, he ran it on Arrival Labs models, and his own take is that the findings transfer. Everything else in this video comes straight from Anthropic's own docs, so nothing rests on that test alone. And the reason those tricks fail is simple. They shrink what the model says back to you. Sure, output tokens are the pricey ones, 5 times the rate. But in a real session, the agent writes back a couple thousand tokens while resending your entire conversation as input every single turn. 100,000 in, 2,000 out. The bill isn't the words you see, it's the payload you don't. Before you type your first word, Claude Code has already loaded 30 to 45,000 tokens. System prompt, tools, your Claude.md memory tool listings. 3 independent measurements landed on the same range. And here's the mechanic almost nobody internalizes. Every single message resends your entire conversation as input. One creator dug through his own usage data and found 98.5% of his tokens were spent rereading history. Your bill isn't the question you asked, it's everything underneath it, again and again. Which is why move number 7 is the least glamorous command in the tool. Anthropic's docs say it flatly. A one-line question in a session that's been open all day still draws usage for the whole conversation and /clear costs nothing. Finished a task? Clear. New topic? Clear. It's free and it beats every viral trick that just failed the test. Move 6. Stop guessing and run /usage and /context. Usage now attributes your burn to individual skills, subagents, and MCP servers, and it flags when cache misses or long context eat more than 10% of your spend. Context shows exactly what's loaded and what it costs you on every message. This is the command that exposed the invisible billing event I mentioned at the start. Hold that thought, because it's worse than you think. Quick story from Hacker News. A developer set up an agent workflow, walked away, and it launched 102 agents and burned his $120 quota in 6 minutes. Because here's what the viral threads get backwards. Subagents save context, not money. Each one cold starts, repays the overhead, and only gets a 5-minute cache window. That's in the official docs. So, move 5 is to delegate deliberately and delegate downward. Set your subagents to Haiku for the grunt work. It's one line of config, and Haiku costs 1/10 of the top model. Anthropic's own example shows a subagent reading 6,000 tokens of files and handing back a 400 token summary. That's the trade you want on a cheap model, on your terms. If this video is useful, hit subscribe because it's free, and if you want to back the work, join here or the supporter button on Facebook. Now, move number 4. In that same controlled test, exactly one lever cut real dollars, dropping to a cheaper model and turning the reasoning effort up, minus 49%. The same logic runs on Claude. Anthropic's own docs say Sonnet handles most coding, and to reserve the big models for architecture-level decisions. But here's the trap. Nobody's viral routing thread mentions switching models, mid-session busts, your entire cache. Each model keeps its own cache. So the very next message rereads your whole conversation at full input price. Same thing when you change the effort level mid task. The doc's actual advice: pick your model and effort at the top of a session and don't touch them mid task. And no, switching models does not reset a limit you've already hit. Those are shared across models. Move 3: treat/compact as the expensive operation it is. Compaction is a full context size request. One developer pulled 1263 of his own compact events. Run warm, the median cost was 10 to 26 cents. Run cold after a break, $1.47 to over $3, roughly 15 times more expensive, exactly as the doc's cache mechanics predict. The alternative? Write a short handoff file. What's decided, what's done, what's next. Then clear and start fresh. And when Claude goes down a bad path, don't argue with it. Rewind. The docs confirm rewinding lands on an already cached prefix, so deleting the failure is cheaper than summarizing it. Oh, and that trick of editing Claude.md mid-session to steer Claude? The docs say the edit doesn't even apply until the next session. You've been steering with a disconnected wheel. Now, the billing event from the start of this video. Your cache has a lifetime. 1 hour on a subscription. 5 minutes on an API key. Step away longer than that. And the very next message silently reprocesses your entire session at full input price. At a 500,000 token context, that's about $3 for coming back from a coffee break. You didn't type anything. You didn't run anything. You walked away. And that was the billable event. The fix: when Claude Code offers to resume from a summary after a break, take it. Later, messages stop carrying the full history. Move 2 rides on the best receipt of the year. In July, an engineer on the Claude Code team revealed they removed over 80% of Claude Code's own system prompt, with no measurable loss on their coding evals. If Anthropic's instructions were mostly deadweight, yours are too. The docs now say, keep Claude.md under 200 lines and move workflows into skills, which cost 1 line each until they're actually used. And that brings us to number 1, the move that showed up in none of the viral threads: cache hygiene as a habit. 1 session, 1 task, 1 model, 1 effort level. No toggling MCP servers mid-session. Clear between tasks. Rewind instead of arguing. Resume from summary after breaks. It costs nothing. It's invisible. And it's the difference between the people who hit their weekly limit in 3 days and the people who never think about it. One power user's logs showed a 96% cache hit rate. That's the whole game, because cache reads bill at 10% of the input price. On screen, the 7. Clear between tasks. Measure with usage and context. Subagents downward on Haiku. Root models at session start. Never compact cold. Claude.md under 200 lines. And cache hygiene above everything. If you want the settings pass, the 7 defaults worth changing, that video is linked below. Today was the physics. And one reason to do this now: Sonnet's intro pricing ends September 1st, and input jumps 50%. The habits are free. The delay isn't. Real talk. 90% of you watching haven't subscribed. On Facebook, subscribe is the supporter button. That is what keeps the lights on here. On YouTube, it's free, and it tells the algorithm to send you more. Subscribe to support us. I put all 7 moves, plus the full table of what busts your cache and what doesn't, into a free checklist. Comment the word cache. That's CACHE. And my bot sends it straight to you. Or grab it at hyperautomationlabs.co/free/cache. And if you're just getting started, my paid beginner guides are linked below. The complete Claude Code Guide, the OpenAI Codex Guide, the Claude Cowork Sales Guide, and the Claude Architect Prep Kit. The builds behind these videos live on Instagram at hyperautomationlabs. And I've already started next week's experiment: writing the token budget directly into the prompt. Literally telling Claude, use 50,000 tokens to see if it obeys. That test is running right now. See you in the next one.